Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. I'm kind of looking forward to October. It peaks our fire season here, but it's also a time of year that kicks off the holidays, and I really love that. First of all, I want to thank all of you. Many of you have communicated with me your concerns about the recent fire outbreak here in Napa County that is marched over the hills towards Santa Rosa. And I think if there's any good news, we've had what seems to be a wind shift here. Yesterday, the wind was coming from east to west in a pronounced fashion. It was driving the fire towards Santa Rosa. Today, it seems like the wind has shifted to a more normal flow where we're getting our wind flow from the west and the northwest, which should theoretically drive the fire backwards over land that has already been burned. I'm no fire expert by any stretch of the imagination. The town of Calistoga was evacuated last night. Think of them in your thoughts and prayers, and those in Napa County and in the eastern part of Sonoma and Santa Rosa here, where we have a lot of people. I think upwards of over 50,000 people have been evacuated so far. So thank you for your thoughts and prayers. The air quality is a bit better today. The sun is still very muddled in the sky. So I'm going to kind of stay indoors a bit until that improves. Now, thank you. Okay, so thank you very much. Interesting question today from a subscriber. And of course, we all have secret bucket list things that we would want to do in life. And also here on YouTube, we have bucket list items of things that we would like to accomplish. I'm very proud of my, well, let's see what Straight Arrow says. He lives in a town called Missoula, Montana. And he's talked about, as he says, they always start off with, he was talking about, I'm going to paraphrase it because he's not the best writer in the world on there, but basically he's saying that he enjoyed he loves the street choo-choos where I'm out there, especially putting myself into areas, a test of sort of what he calls bravery here. And I suspect he might be a Native American. And he was talking about the tradition of Native American, especially males, who would test themselves and go out in the wilderness and haul back a buffalo. I don't know, something like that. I'm not much on Native American lore and all that, but he said he's really enjoyed the channel, but he was super impressed when I did the walk in Compton and I did the walk in Skid Row in L.A. And he was talking about how cool that was. Of course, said Rosie, you're a bit of a goofball too on YouTube, but the good definitely outweighs the bad. But he asked me about train hopping, and specifically, he wondered if I would ever do train hopping, which is hopping aboard an open car, a train where you're not going to be inside of a box car or something like that. You're going to be riding on the back of like where a container might be on a train. Things like that, hopping on and just enjoying the freedom of riding the rails. And it has always been a bucket list item for me. Would I have the guts to do it? Absolutely, 100%. Are there penalties for being a train hopper? Of course there are. The ultimate penalty is death, as I'll describe to you in a bit. But if you get caught the first time, it's usually a misdemeanor, and it can land you a fine of anywhere from a couple dozen dollars up to $1,000 and possibly 30 days in jail. Okay, so it's a serious business, but therein lies the thrill for a lot of people. And there is something in the American tradition of the 20s and 30s of the hobos riding the rails, but it was a much more safe proposition back then. Safe in the sense that if you could find a boxcar that had a door, you could swing the door open and ride the boxcar. Now we know you may not be riding with the most savory characters in that boxcar. That's the stuff of legend. That's the stuff of Hollywood movies of bad encounters on freight inside of boxcars along the rail lines. But you think of Arlo Guthrie and all the songs being written about, American things being seen from a boxcar on a train. It's a very glamorized, very exciting thing. But these days, it's more intermodal transportation where you'll have staked train cars that they put containers down, double, sometimes triple stack those containers. So it's a lot more problematic to find a space safely to train hop. Plus, you still have the railroad bulls or the railroad police that are very well trained at knowing exactly, how to look at a train when it goes by, even at high speed going past a town or something like that. They know exactly where to look. And they're the people that are going to come after you, and they're going to spice up your life a lot. And some of them have a reputation of they'll beat the hell out of you if they find you. And they'll go back to the office now. Well, the person rolled off the train. They got pretty much busted up doing that. What are you going to say? These guys beat me up in here. They want to give you a strong message. But yes, it is very, very appealing to me. But you need somebody that has done it before, a very seasoned person. It's not the kind of thing where I just want to hitch a ride down to Oakland, hit the rail yards there, try to figure out a train that's going east and will take me over the Sierras and over to Nevada. It's not that simple, right? It's not that simple because your risk of problems is much higher when you do that. So yeah, I always hope if somebody does watch, as I do some of the channels, that they reach out to some of those people and say, yeah, Rosie's interested in collaborating on something like that. It is on my bucket list, and I would take the necessary preps and do things to prepare for that. But I think the fun of that and the reward of that would far outweigh the risk, except in one aspect. Stobe the Hobo, who was a train rider of great renown, YouTube. He was a piano player. He put his own piano music to his travels, and he drank a lot of beer, and he would ride the rails around the country and explain geographically. He's an educated guy doing a pretty wild thing, riding trains. But unfortunately, even somebody as experienced as he was, Jim was his name, still met his demise doing what he loved to do. He was walking along a bridge in Baltimore, a rail bridge, and the train was coming the other way. And there's not a lot of clearance to stand back on those bridges. The train is hurtling by at 40, 50 miles an hour. And unfortunately, he even complained about it. He had a relatively new backpack that he did not like at all. But the backpack got caught on the train hurtling by, and it pulled him along and spun him and crushed him and basically just left him a twisted mass of jello at the end of it. It was tragic. So it shows you even the most experienced people, but still, there's no harm in saying, yeah, I do have something like that on my bucket list. And I do like to challenge myself in ways like that where your heart's racing a little bit, and I get excitement out of that. Sue me, right? Anyway, I'm going to close it out here today. Rosie the Hobo out there riding the rail, man. I think that would really be a blast. So if you guys have any entree into that community or can put that out, that would be wonderful. With that, I'm going to close it out again today, another day here on the Rancho, and really thank you all from the bottom of my heart at the concern and love I've received about the ongoing fires. I know it gets so repetitive here, it gets ridiculous. So let me know in the comments section down below after you've hit that thumbs up button or subscribed if you're new here. Let me know what you think about it. Do you think I'm out of my friggin' mind? Or do you think that's right up the alley for Rosie the Adventure Hoe? Let me know down below, okay? Have a wonderful day, everybody. Woo!